Hey guys, in this video you're going to learn about a Samsung dryer that will not start, run, or spin. Now this is not the common Samsung dryer. So for those of you that have never encountered this dryer, you're in for a treat. You're going to learn how to disassemble it, and you're going to learn also why it did not start or would not start and why it won't spin. So let's get started. As you can see, this is not the common Samsung dryer, and it can be a little tricky to open. You need to open the door, and there are two clips. One is here on the left side and the right, and you're going to have to use a putty knife and a little bit of effort to get the top open on this particular dryer. Once you lift the top, there are approximately 6 screws to remove and 2 clamps, 3 at the top. Open the door, the screw under the door switch, and then the 2 screws at the lint filter. Then all you do is lift up and pull back the front panel of the dryer. And that's the drum, of course. And then, of course, you need to remove the lint filter. All you're seeing here is the harness to the door switch and the top of the drum. Also, when you remove the panel, I still have it connected. I just want to show you the 3 clamps at the bottom. All you need to do is lean back and lift up, and that front panel will come off. Now I'll show you later in this video how I leave the door switch on whenever possible. As you already know, you want to keep any disassembly simple. These are the screws to the bulkhead, which of course is the front of the dryer drum. There are 4 screws, and there's also the lint filter housing, which has 2 screws. You remove those. What I like to do there, some people leave that attached. I usually remove it because you're also going to want to clean that out. And that's the heating element in that area that we're going to see in a little bit. So after you remove the front panel and the vent housing, there's the blower assembly, and all you're going to do at this point is just remove the bulkhead screws. I'm just showing you again that screw under the door switch, and then once you remove all of that, the front of the dryer and the dryer itself is a lot easier to get to. I also remove those clamps because if you don't, they're going to fall anyway. And as you guys already know, I always use a magnetic plate. They're simple to put back on, but I would advise that you remove them, like I said, or they're going to fall down at the bottom of the front panel. So now that you know how to disassemble it, we're going to backtrack a little bit here. One of the first things you want to do when you lift the top is to check the belt. Because whenever that belt on this particular dryer and most high efficiency dryers comes off of the idler pulley, it will not start. Now that we've removed the screws from the bulkhead, all you have to do is lift up and pull forward on the bulkhead, and it will come off of the front of the tub. Also, while you're down there, it's a good idea to check the fins on the blower assembly. See that fingernail file that was inside of that blower wheel? That will break fins and cause all kind of problems. So make sure you take a look in there, and I always like to spin it freely with my hand. Now here's the bulkhead off of the dryer. Set it to the side. Also check those tub rollers on that bulkhead. If there's a lot of hair or strings or any type of debris, you want to remove that. Then I like to lift the tub up with the belt. Just hold on to the belt, pull forward, and then remove the tub from the dryer hole. Now I put an F there. It's not necessary. This is just a teaching purpose or point. Once we remove the drum from the dryer, you're in for a little bit of a surprise. And a lot of techs make this mistake, especially new techs. Because the belt is not on the dryer, they always assume it's just the idler pulley, like you're about to see here. There's the idler pulley. Now, as you can see, the center is worn. All that means is a lot of weight. Sometimes over time, it will kill that idler pulley wheel. You also check the rear tub rollers. And here is the other surprise. Look at that wheel. Now, usually the wheel is all that is damaged, the tub roller, and all you have to do is replace the idler pulley or the whole idler assembly and the tub roller, but not in this case. Here's a big tip. Always do your due diligence. If you don't, and most techs would have just gotten the idler pulley or the idler assembly and assumed that was the problem. Look how worn this tub roller axle is. And with this particular dryer, you're also in for another treat on how to get to that tub roller axle. It's not easy with this particular Samsung model. You have to take off the whole assembly to get to it. Of course, this is the rear bulkhead assembly on this particular dryer, and to remove it so you can get to that tub roller axle, you're going to have to remove the screws from the outside back of this dryer. It's about 5 or 6 different screws, and as always, I like to leave this tip. Make sure you have some place. I would recommend a magnetic bowl to place those screws. And then once you remove the inside rear bulkhead, you will be able to get to that tub roller axle. So once you remove the screws, there are 2 clamps that are holding a bracket. One is on the right and one is on the left. And all you have to do is lift up and then just pull out. Make sure you remove the plastic clamps that are holding the wiring harness, and you're going to have to remove the heating element. That's the screw for those of you that don't know. All you have to do is remove that one screw, slide it back, and then remove that rear bulkhead so you can get to the tub roller axle. So again, slide the heating element back and then just pick up that rear bulkhead and remove it from the dryer. This is what the inside of the dryer looks like with the rear bulkhead removed and placed to the side. Here's the tub roller axle nut that we're going to have to remove so we can install the new one. That particular nut is an 11/16 socket. Now, of course, you're going to have to hold that front of that tub roller axle with I use vice grips. You can use whatever you want, but you're going to have to stabilize it and then remove it with this particular 11/16 inch socket. So here are the vice grips that are holding the shaft of the tub roller axle, and that behind it you see the ratchet that I'm using to hold on to the nut. And then of course all you have to do is remove that tub roller axle and then install the new one. Once you remove this nut, there's a washer behind it. You need it. And then there's one to the front as well. And you need that one with the new tub roller axle that you're about to install. Here's the new tub roller with the axle included. And as you can see, it has a plastic triangle, one on the front and one on the rear. And all you need to do at this point is keep it simple. Remove the one to the rear, place the washer, and then insert that into the bulkhead. So now we've inserted the new tub roller and axle. We just go to the front and we're going to put the vice grips on the shaft. And then all we have to do at that point is to put the nut on the rear, tighten it down, and then we're ready to reinstall the bulkhead. Of course, while you're reinstalling the rear bulkhead, you make sure you put the clamps on and put the bulkhead in place, and then all you have to do at that point is just go into reverse of how you disassemble it to reassemble it. It is super simple. Once you replace the rear bulkhead or reinstalled it, all you need to do at that point is take a look, make sure it's level, that everything is in place where it should be, and then go to the rear and replace those screws that you had taken out, and then everything else falls into place from that point. Now that we have reinstalled the rear bulkhead and replaced that tub roller and tub roller axle, it's time to replace the idler pulley and the idler assembly. I'm just pointing to the belt switch or safety switch, and I want you to make a note of exactly when you install the new idler pulley, exactly what position that idler pulley assembly should be, and also that the spring that you see right there is in place. Otherwise, you're going to reassemble this dryer only to find out that it will not start. Here's another tip for those of you that are new appliance technicians. You should always rotate the tub belt 2 to 3 times to ensure it's not twisted in any area. Last but not least, don't forget to replace or reinstall the wiring harness. Then also put them inside the plastic ties. Then all you have to do at that point is just spot check, lower the top panel, and then run a quick test. Always test any appliance after you repair it to ensure that it is repaired correctly.